Okay, so I want to talk about my journey with AI and what I learned from getting into the hype and then eventually just tapering off. Eventually, just not being as hyped about AI, going from using it every day with just about anything and everything to now just using it like once a week or for specific tasks. So, what I will say is that I don't regret buying into the hype because I've discovered a whole new version of myself. But I will also say that for a lot of people who are buying into the hype, it's important that they think a little bit more about exactly why they are getting into AI. So the first thing is I don't like the idea of how inefficient AI could be. I was listening to a podcast and I think it was this lady who went to school with a lot of the great AI engineers or AI innovators right now. She mentioned Sam Altman, and she mentioned how he's pretty sketchy, and that she just compared how the amount of energy that you need for a typical AI prompt is like I think she said I want to say like 7 times as much as it would be for a Google search. And when I first heard that, I think, oh shit, like that's a lot of energy. So looking into how there's a lack of resources, there's a lack of energy. These companies that go and build their AI factories are really using up a lot of energy, a lot of water, leaving a lot of waste. And so technologically speaking, it's not the most efficient. AI is not the most efficient. And I do think that they will find more efficient ways to make it work because obviously like everybody's about it. But just thinking about how like using AI be can just be really negative for the environment for me was kind of something that caused me to slow down a bit more. Now there have been times where I've just spammed AI and there are still some moments that I do it, but it's a lot less now. Like understanding kind of what AI is serving me and what it doesn't serve me in. So that's the second point that I want to say. It's that a lot of people are using it as a way to just not think as critically, not think as deeply, or just not work on stuff as much. So it's being sold as this way to kind of automate or kind of get tasks done that you wouldn't be able to get done as fast. And for me, I just realized that despite there being that opportunity, there's still a lot of work that needs to happen before I start thinking about automation. So whether it be in my business or whether it be in my life, like AI is not going to be the one that's going to make the decision to get up early and go exercise or make the decision to sit down, block out the noise and meditate, or AI will make the decision to go and have that tough conversation with that loved one or that tough conversation at work. So AI is not really going to solve any of the big problems in my life, right? Like it can definitely help. It can be a tool, but a lot of people are trying to sell AI like if it's like the end all be all solution to your life's problems. For example, like you can get rich with AI. Yes, there's a lot of opportunity, and just like anything, like there's just waves of things that happen. Like we had TikTok that blew up back in 2019. I don't know, and then we had crypto, and then we had NFTs, and now we have AI. So it's like you have constant bubbles that keep arising, and not that any of these things were not viable. It's just that if you really want to get into it in the long term, it's going to require more than just you depending on that one thing. It's going to require your ability to learn and continue to adapt to the markets and understanding how these technologies can integrate into your system rather than you trying to just depend solely on the technology. Because one of the things is that I see a lot is people getting into AI and not learning about AI. Like how does it work? What are what are the alternatives? How does the technology work? That's the most basic thing for me. And where are people getting their data from? How are these models being trained? And I think a lot of people should be getting more technical about it rather than just trying to see it as a means to an end. And I kind of started in that way. I think it excited me to see me doing more of what I loved. That's basically why I got into AI, because I just want to do more of what I love. And a lot of that involved this idea that I had to do less of what I didn't like. But now I've learned that either way, I still have to do boring things. I still have to do the hard stuff. So so that just automatically pushed me to use AI a lot less. And I think that yeah, a lot of people use it as an excuse to just not do the hard stuff. And that goes for anything, whether it be a relationship or a business. Like most of the time, the thing that you need to do next isn't going to be solved through AI. It's going to be solved through your ability to sync up with who you are and then go and do the thing. And that's what I think the biggest lesson. That's like the biggest lesson, which is like realizing that it still falls on me. It still does fall on you. Okay. Now, I do want to address kind of also this ability to succeed with AI. I think that there's still ample opportunity for businesses to integrate AI. I think it's real cool technology. But going to my third point, which is like you just gotta learn. You just gotta learn technology. You just I don't think you should buy into the hype because the hype usually is selling it as a means to an end. You should be looking into how this technology works and why it's exciting. And for me, like I have this genuine interest in computer science now, and I want to learn more, and I'm curious. But I'm also vibe coding an app, right? I'm vibe coding an app for social dancers, and it's something that I'm excited about. It's something that I want to learn more about. And because of my excitement, I do want to get more educated on computer science, coding, programming, etc. Um, and so I have been making a little bit of time, even though it's not consistent. It's still much more like of a priority than thinking that I'm just gonna, create this app and it's just gonna be a successful thing. Um, I have learned a lot. I've been able to integrate a lot of concepts from computer science into my life. It's changed the way that I think. It's evolved the way that I think. I think there's still ample opportunity for me to continue to just have more ease in just like things like my video editing process, just Photoshop, website creation. Like my websites are, it's so much easier to create my own websites. And I honestly feel like, the barrier to entry has now just been broken, right, into like the world of programming. And I think that's a good thing. I think that it's something that is now not being gate kept, right? So what I have realized though, is like another thing that comes to mind is that you don't have to be super smart to succeed. Like the fact that you could vibe code and you could create a successful app proves that. It's just now pointing to the main currency, which is going to be creativity. Creativity is going to be the main driver of your success, and then more importantly, your ability to be yourself is going to be that too. Because going back to point two, at the end of the day, it's still going to fall onto you. It's still going to fall on your shoulders to do the right thing, and so that means being yourself, being creative, and then I forgot what the first point was, but basically just know that oh yes, just the inefficiency with AI, and also just like not depending on it. You still have to think critically about what you're doing. You still have to get engaged into the process. You still have to really get deep into the work that you're doing. I think that when you're with AI, it's a little difficult to do that. Like the way that I use AI now is I like to learn with AI. So if I have a concept that I'm not too familiar with, I look it up on Gemini because it's free. And also I used to have like hundreds of dollars of subscriptions. Now I only have like two or one that I use. And so the way I use AI is just like if I have a concept, I ask about it, I then present perspectives, make connections, and AI is really good with like helping me make the analogies and also dumbing things down for me and then helping me build up from there. I think it's a great learning tool. I think like if I want to research a topic, it can be very helpful, but still, I still often find myself doing my own research just because sometimes it's just more engaging that way. For me, it just sometimes like the fact that I went through this process makes it much more meaningful, but also I feel much more engaged. Like instead of clicking on Gemini and finding these articles, like I'm having the deep research feature, but then I'm also going into the articles that it's linking and I'm reading those articles. So it's just another tool, and that's really the way I treat it. So it's not the end all be all, and so there are ways to make it work to integrate it into your life, but I think you should first get educated on it Secondly, you should also just put your work first, put yourself first. Like, what are your main your main goals, and don't see AI as a way to shortcut yourself to them. And then also finally, just once you educate yourself, once you continue to develop yourself, you can begin to see where AI fits in. And usually it's going to be really helpful, but it's not going to be the thing that revolutionizes your business or your way of living. So those are just some quick thoughts that I want to share. I hope you found them helpful. I'll see you in the next one. Stay lucid.